You said no to one small thing. Not a betrayal, not a fight. A favor you couldn't do this week. A call you couldn't take right then. And you said it gently. You softened it. You offered another day. You did everything you were supposed to do. And something on the other end went quiet. Not an ordinary quiet. A quiet with a temperature to it. The next reply was shorter. The one after that was slower. And then a week went by, and you understood it wasn't coming at all. So you sat there holding a no, so small you could barely see it, and watched a whole friendship quietly leave the room behind it. So here's the part worth slowing down on. A friendship, that one gentle no, can end with trying to tell you something for a long time. You just couldn't hear it while you were still saying yes. Because a boundary is such a small thing to be fatal. A line where you stop. A place where you, just once, are not completely available. How does something that small bring down something that felt that big? That's the question worth sitting inside. Start with the boundary itself, because it's the clean case. All you did was mark where you end. Not a wall, not a door slammed, just a small honest edge. This far, and today, no further. In most friendships, that edge is just information. The other person takes it in, adjusts, and the friendship bends a little and holds. You've had that happen 100 times. You said not tonight, and nothing broke. The friendship simply breathed and carried on. So a boundary, on its own, is not a dangerous object. Most bonds absorb it the way water takes a stone and closes over the top. Which means when one small no ends the whole thing, the no was never really the cause. It was the test the friendship couldn't pass. So look closer at this particular friendship, and something quietly comes into focus. It had a shape you never agreed to out loud. There was a contract underneath it, not one either of you signed, just an arrangement that ran in the background the whole time. And the clause at the center of it was simple. You stay available. You keep saying yes. You're the one who bends. For as long as you met that clause, everything was warm. The friendship felt generous, easy, alive. But warmth that depends on a clause isn't unconditional. It's just a condition you were quietly, reliably meeting. So a boundary, in this friendship, isn't heard as information. It's heard as the clause being broken. You thought you were saying, not this once. They heard, the arrangement is over. Two completely different sentences in the same breath. And that's why the reaction feels so out of scale. You set down a pebble. They felt the floor move. But here's what makes it so hard to see coming. For years, this friendship felt like one of the good ones. It was easy. It was low friction. You never argued because you never got in the way of anything they wanted. And you read that ease as closeness. Most of us do. We think the smooth ones are the deep ones. But the ease had a source, and the source wasn't trust. The ease was you, quietly removing yourself from the way, over and over. There was never any friction because there were never two full people in the room. There was one person and one person's helper. That's the quiet cost of being the easy friend. Nobody ever bumps into you because you're always already stepping back. And it works. It worked for years, right up until the first time you don't step back. So watch what happens the moment you hold your ground, even gently. Watch how fast the warmth drains out. It's startling, the speed. Yesterday, you were essential. Today, you're being packed away like something outgrown. And it feels personal because how could it not? But look at what actually happened underneath the sting. You didn't lose a friend who loved you and then stopped. You reached the end of a role you've been playing all along. The friendship didn't turn cold. It arrived exactly where it was always heading on the day you stopped feeding it. Because that kind of bond doesn't run on you. It runs on what you provide. And the day the supply pauses, so does the bond. It isn't cruelty exactly. They're not a villain. They're just responding to the only thing the friendship was ever about. The favors were the friendship. The availability was the friendship. When those stopped, there was nothing underneath to keep standing. Now here's the turn, and it changes the whole shape of the grief. The friendship did not end the day you set the boundary. It ended much earlier, quietly, on some ordinary afternoon you can't even name. It was already over. You just hadn't been told yet. The boundary wasn't the thing that broke the room. The boundary was the light switch. It just let you finally see the room as it was. Everything you're mourning was already gone before you spoke. The no didn't take it from you. The no just stopped hiding it. That's a strange kind of relief and a real kind of sorrow arriving in the same moment. Both of them are allowed. Because it does hurt. Of course it hurts. You were kind to that friendship, and being kind to it cost you something real. You gave it years of stepping back. You made yourself small in rooms so it could feel spacious. That was love, even if it wasn't returned. So pick the boundary back up and look at what it actually did for you. It didn't cost you a friend. It told you which of them were friends, and which were arrangements wearing friend's coat. A real friendship can hold your no. It might wobble, it might need a conversation, but it stays in the room with you. The ones that vanish the instant you have an edge were only ever in the room for the yes. They were never quite able to reach you at all. And that's worth saying plainly, because it's the part that gets lost. A person who can only love your yes has never once met you. They love the shape you made yourself into. They love the room you left them. That isn't the same as loving you, and some quiet part of you always knew. So the loss is real, but notice what it isn't. You did not lose someone who could hold the whole of you. You lost someone who was leaning on half. And the boundary that ended it is the same instrument that would have found you a truer one, eventually. It's a filter, not a wound. Every no you can survive saying is a small piece of yourself you get back. You are spending those pieces to keep an arrangement warm. And the room feels emptier now. That's true. But it's the emptiness of a space that's finally honest about who's really in it. There's grief in that honesty. There's also air. For the first time in a long time, you're taking up your whole space in the room. Now here's the part that's quietly been forming while you listened. A face came up. Maybe two. One of them is the friend who left the moment you had an edge. And you can feel, even now, the pull to shrink back and win them again. You don't have to. Not because you're strong, but because you finally know what's on the other side of that door. It's the arrangement, not the person. And the other face, if you were lucky enough to have one come up, is different. That's the one who stayed the last time you said no. The one who got a little quiet, then came back the next day like nothing had ended. Because for them, nothing had. You know, was never the whole bridge. That's the friendship a boundary can't kill. Not because it never gets tested, but because there are two full people standing in it. So you don't have to decide anything tonight. You don't have to send a message or close a door for good. You only have to let one thing land. The boundary didn't end a friendship. It told you the truth about one, and the day it did, it was already over. The friendship that ends the moment you set a boundary was already ending the whole time you were holding it up. You were just the last one carrying it. And the ones who are still here when you finally put yourself first, those were the friends the whole time. Let that settle a second. You already know which is which.